Once signing in, this will bring you to the My Projects page. On the My Projects page, you'll have a table with the project titles for each one that you have access and participation in. For today's example, we'll be using the project Fend example. To access the project, select the title that you want. This will bring you to the project home for the project. To add and edit records, come over to the left-hand side for data collection. Under the Add Edit Records, there are several options to add and edit a record. To find an existing one to edit, you can either use the drop-down box to select a record number, or type in the existing number within the search box. To create a new participant ID, you can either type in this box and hit enter, or come to the record status dashboard and type in the participant ID number within this box and create. When creating a participant ID, make sure it follows the format for the project. So to create a new ID number, type in the appropriate number. And hit enter. This will bring up the record homepage for the new participant ID 0005. This dashboard will help you organize and ensure that data completion is done. It will show you a table for each CRF and when it needs to be completed. We can see the data collection instrument column showing each CRF that needs to be completed. And we can see when each CRF needs to be done. For this project, we have a baseline completion, month 2 completion, and end of study completion. We can also see that each CRF that needs to be done has a gray icon next to it. These gray icons indicate the status of the CRF completion. If you look to the top right-hand side of the legend, we can see the status icon definitions. Gray indicating that incomplete or no data has been saved, which there should not be within a new participant ID. And we will see these colors change as we change the data within the CRFs. For this video example, we will be doing the baseline CRF. To add data to it, select the gray icon. Within this, there are several question types to be aware of. First are data entry boxes or text boxes, such as this one. And there are also date boxes. There are also radial multiple choice, as well as checkbox questions that can select multiple. Another thing to be aware of when entering data into a CRF is branching logic. Branching logic means when you select a certain answer for a question, means there might be additional questions that need to be filled out before completion of the CRF. Ensure that these are filled out appropriately when they do appear. Once the data is filled out completely, ensure to come down to the CRF completion tab. Once all the data is verified to be correctly filled out, insert your initials and the completion of the CRF. Make sure not to put anything in the QC review tab. This will be for another member of the team to come back and review the appropriate and completion of the CRF. Once you've filled out the CRF completion tab, come down to the complete status. There are 3 options within this drop-down box: incomplete, unverified, and complete. Once you have filled out the CRF completely, hit unverified. This will indicate that this CRF is ready for QC review by another team member. Complete should only be selected by the QC reviewer, meaning that it has been verified and there is no data corrections needed. Incomplete will be selected when there is missing data and it is not completely filled out. For now, we're going to assume that it's unverified and all correct data fields are filled. Next, hit Save and Exit Form. It's important to note if there are missing data fields, you will get a warning about any missing fields that need to be filled out. We can now look at the baseline CRF and see that the icon has changed from gray to yellow. Yellow indicates that it's unverified and ready for QC review, Once it has been QC reviewed, it will turn to green as complete. We will now want to edit a record. To do that, we have two ways to do that, as we mentioned before. Right now, we're going to edit participant 0002. Once you've selected on the participant ID number that you want, in this instance, the 0002 participant number, we will come down and look at our table of CRFs. Before you start editing an existing CRF, it is important to be aware of any lock functions on completed CRFs, as seen here on the baseline, and shown by the lock icon. If you're going to edit a CRF that has been QC reviewed and marked as complete, you will need to have it unlocked. To do that, you will need to reach out to the data coordinating site to unlock the CRF for edits. This can be done through email as well as query log function on REDCap. If you have any questions about this, please refer to the query resolution video for further details. When you select on a locked CRF, it will come up with this warning, letting you know that this CRF is locked and that you need to reach out to the data coordinating site. Now, for this example, we will be editing the blood collection CRF. And fill out any available data that we have. Before editing a CRF, ensure that you have verified the data with project managers as well as any patient reports. Once you've made your change, make sure the CRF completion is filled out appropriately and the appropriate complete status is done. And make sure to save the form as you exit. Now, those are the basic steps for adding and editing records within the Rutgers REDCap portal. One last thing to be aware of is the record status dashboard. Under this link, you can look at all participant ID numbers and their status of their CRFs. We can see the one we added and the CRF of baseline as yellow or unverified. If you are unsure about a CRF, this is a good place to come and check the status of the CRF completion. You now have the basic understanding of how to edit and add CRFs within the REDCap system.